In this episode of the Campcast, we talk about something that Dreamworks posted earlier today on social media. Wondering what it is? Stick around till after the intro and find out. Hello and welcome to the Cretaceous Campcast. I am Cretaceous Dave, and this is a podcast all about Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous and Jurassic World Chaos Theory. Well, a little while ago, Dreamworks posted on social media something that, got me thinking and got me inspired to come and record a little something for you all. If you all have been following me for a while now, you may have remembered that about 3 years ago, I released a video called Why Camp Cretaceous, and it was basically the origin story of Cretaceous Dave. It was like 45 minutes long, something like that. And I went into how special that show is to me and what it means and how it more or less saved my life. So earlier today, Dreamworks posted on social media wanting to know, what does chaos theory mean to you? And, it kind of got me thinking that they're looking for 3 or 4 sentences, something to post and to share. Some speculation they may read some of these at New York Comic Con. That'd be really cool if they're going to do that. But I got thinking about it and I'm like, man, I don't think I could sum it up in 3 or 4 sentences. So it kind of inspired me to come down and to talk about it for a little bit. No notes, no preparation, just kind of shooting it from the hip here. I doubt it's going to go 45 minutes like my Camp Cretaceous video, but we'll see where this goes. Anyway, chaos theory. Yeah, just a quick refresher on that other video. I explained how important Camp Cretaceous was to me and how it rejuvenated my love for the Jurassic franchise. And most importantly, it connected me with a lot of people, some people that I consider now, some of the best friends I've ever had. And I am eternally grateful to the creators of Camp Cretaceous for that. And chaos theory is kind of a little similar for me. If you remember back in 2022, I pretty much abruptly ended the podcast. I just stopped making content. And I had a lot of personal and mental stuff going on. And for a while, I was, pretty depressed. I completely left social media for a while. I ignored everyone for a while. And things weren't all that great. I was unemployed for some of it, don't need to get into any of that. But then when they announced chaos theory, something just kind of flipped like a switch for me. And it reinvigorated me and it got me back to thinking about all of the good things that that Camp Cretaceous did for me, and all of the people that I met and all the good times I had. And it's like, yeah, I've got something to look forward to again. And I remember all the hype and all the build-up leading up to season 1 of Chaos Theory. And so much speculation about, is Brooklyn dead? Is she not dead? And people having all sorts of crazy ideas and theories. And then it got me reconnecting with a lot of the people that, I lost communication with over the last couple of years. Not from growing apart or from differences in things we're interested in or anything like that. Just more of where I was as a person, my mental state at the time. And, it was great. And it was fun reconnecting with people. And of course, it got me to bring back the podcast. And those first 2 seasons, were so great. It was fun talking about it with people. It was just up until right before the start of the second season. I was pretty gung-ho about everything through the first season. And then somewhere around right before season 2 came out, things got really not great for me again, on a personal and mental level. And, let's fast forward to, recently, over the summer, and I got the spark again, and I thank this show for it. Season 3 was tough for me to watch. It was the first time for either of the series I didn't watch the entire thing. I didn't wake up at 3 in the morning and just sit down and watch the entire thing, binge it through, and then come and talk about it with people or record a video or anything like that. So it was a little difficult, and I made it through after several days, and it was really, really good. And I kind of got mad at myself for watching it the way I did and not enjoying it like I usually did, because it was a really good season, and you could tell everybody put so much hard work into it. And that's at some point when I got back to feeling like me. That's when I had that Rebirth of Chaos episode, bringing this back. And of course, I'm not releasing episodes as frequently as I would like. That has more to do with me just being really busy and not other stuff. But, seeing Dreamworks ask that question earlier today got me thinking back across this whole series and what it's kind of been for my life. And it's very similar to Camp Cretaceous in a lot of ways, because it kind of brought me back into being whole and into being a social person and into having something to look forward to and love talking about. And because of getting back into things and, back again into the Jurassic franchise, I've been able to meet up with some super amazing people in the Jurassic community and people that I've looked up to and admired for years. I got to meet in person and have conversations with and sit down and watch a movie with. And, it's been amazing. It's been life-changing. And, to roll back to what I said 3 years ago, it's been life-saving. And, has Chaos Theory had as big of an impact as Camp Cretaceous on me? I'd say no, for the most part, because I was in the lowest of my low places before I found Camp Cretaceous. But I would say it's very close and very similar in that I've had a lot of highs and lows in between. And Chaos Theory and talking about Chaos Theory has kind of been that thing to bring me back out of it. And it's just been crazy to think about the last couple of hours after seeing that. Like, how do I even put into words what I would like to say to Dreamworks? And because I don't know how to do that, I'm just kind of rambling into a microphone, and we'll end up releasing this as a podcast episode, and people are going to listen to it and be like, I wanted to listen to you talk about Chaos Theory, and you're just talking about yourself. So apologies to anyone, expecting me to talk about season 4 or anything like that. I do not have any news or information on season 4. I do have an update on the interview I've been working on. Our schedules are totally off kilter. They are available this upcoming week, but I'm going to be in California visiting family for 10 days. And then when I get back, they're not available because they're going to be traveling. So we are trying to figure out a day that we can finally get this done. But it's looking like now it's maybe going to be mid to late October. I was hoping for sooner, but that is up to the scheduling gods at this point. They're being difficult. So back to the Dreamworks post. It just really got me thinking how special this show is, how it brought me back from a couple of dark places, and it got me interacting more with other fans once again, and people that have been so influential on my life and have played a big part of me becoming the person I am and getting out of those funks and everything like that. And it's been great talking to people again. And, in addition to the friends I made the Camp Cretaceous days, I've made some new friends, through Chaos Theory. And there are some really awesome people out there. And I hope these friendships will continue, for years to come. That this show is coming to an end in November. We've got less than 2 months, and then this show is over. And I have no knowledge or insight or proof of anything, but I'm assuming we're not going to see these characters again. That these 6 characters that we've grown up with over the last 5 years, their story's going to wrap up, and it's going to be bittersweet because I have complete confidence in the writers that they're going to knock it out of the park with the finale. But at the same time, it's going to be so sad that it's going to be over, And I don't want to lose the connection I have with the friends I made because of this show, that I hope we can continue on and we can chat about whatever. And honestly, I hope I can keep this podcast going because I've got 5 seasons of one show and 4 seasons of another show I can talk about. I can break down, and we can keep the spirit of the Nublar 6 alive for however long we could keep this rolling. I still want to interview and chat with so many people involved in the creation of these shows, and maybe even circle back with some of the people I've talked to in the past and talk to them again. And, I'm thinking after season 4 airs, talking to some fans and, getting their opinions on the overall story of the Nublar 6 from start to finish and what they thought and their opinions and stuff. So similar to the community Q&A that I did previously, but kind of and I mentioned this before, I want to do it in a face-to-face virtually, sort of context. And, I'm excited for something like that. I've got ideas, and again, just a few months ago, I wouldn't have been motivated or excited about these things just because of where I was. And because of this show, I am again. This show makes me happy. It gives me purpose. And even my therapist noticed a difference in me when I started talking about it. And I was like, so I'm starting up this podcast I had previously. I'm starting it back up, and I'm talking to such and such person that had this role in the creation of the show, and we're setting up an interview. And she was like, I've never seen you so happy and so, enthusiastic talking about stuff. So yeah, this show is, it's a big deal. It means a lot to me, in ways that it's really hard to express in words. It's there in my head, and it's there in my heart, but it's hard to put it out there, So this entire episode might be completely incoherent and me just rambling about stuff, but it's just reflecting a little bit on it. It's been amazing to see these characters grow from who they were in Camp Cretaceous to who they are now in Chaos Theory, and even across the seasons, just their change and their growth. And I'm really looking forward to whatever's going to happen in season 4. And I think, some relationships will be mended, and I think the overall relationships may get pushed to the limits where they haven't been before. Again, no insider knowledge. I don't know anything about the plot, the story, other than they're going to Biosyn Valley, which has been very obvious since the end of season 3. But I'm excited for it, and it gives me something to look forward to every day, because I'm one day closer to the finale of Chaos Theory. Not that I want to see it end, but it gives me that something to look forward to. And yes, I have a job, and I have a family, and I have the greatest kids in the world, and I love them more than anything. But anyone that has, dealt with depression or other mental illness, you kind of know that's just not it. I don't want to take anything away from my life. I love my life. Um, it's just sometimes you need that something extra to give you that motivation, the external factor in things. And chaos theory has been that from day one, from that first announcement teaser, which showed nothing other than Darius getting out of a truck. And it had me so excited. It completely changed everything for me in just a matter of seconds. And, even though it's been a roller coaster since then, um, it keeps bringing me back. And every time I get to feeling good again about something, it's not some, weird thing. It's not something I do or say or anything like that. It's always chaos theory or a person I've met through Camp Cretaceous or chaos theory that brings me back and helps me get out of it and kind of levels me out and balances me. And I have to admit, I'm in a much better place than I have been in a very long time. And I credit a lot of that with this show. And I've mentioned to Scott Kramer how important these shows are to me and what they mean and what they've done for me. So I just needed to throw that out there to him. So now I'm saying it publicly that I mentioned it to him, and he seems like an incredible guy. I would be honored to have the opportunity to chat with him one day. I know I'm no Jurassic Outpost or Jurassic Park podcast or anybody like that, but if he's interested in talking to little old Cretaceous Dave on the Cretaceous Campcast, it would be an honor and a privilege. So we'll see where things go with that. But I've mentioned to the other people I've talked to that have been writers or storyboard artists or anything on the show how Camp Cretaceous changed my life. And just the genuine reaction I get from people when they hear that it clicks for them that like, wow, something I worked on, really means something to somebody. And I think it's a little different coming from an adult than from a kid. That I know these shows are made for kids, but it's so crazy to think about how, this show that I only turned on because my son, who was 3 at the time, was crazy interested in dinosaurs. And I'm like, does Jurassic Park have a cartoon? How it would change my life. And here I am 5 years later, still talking about the show and still have some of the best friends I've made because of this show. Not this show, the previous show, but by extension, this show. And, I've, like I said, I got to meet some of them. I got to hang out with them. I had dinner with someone. I rode a train with someone. I got to see a movie with a lot of people. And I know I'm talking in circles a lot and some of the stuff is repetitive, but I'm just kind of hammering home that these shows mean the world to me. And how do I say that to Dreamworks in a couple sentences? Do I just literally say that? These shows mean the world to me. I've mentioned also to actors on the show how important it is, and just getting my message across. I'm not looking for attention or anything like that. It's just any opportunity I get to thank anyone involved in these shows, I'm going to do it because I'm a better person and I'm still alive. And I credit a lot of that with these shows. And even when things get dark, even when things aren't so great, I can reach back and I can think about chaos theory and it pulls me out. It may not always be there, but it is there and I know it's there and it helps. And I've watched season 1 I have no idea how many times. I watched that season a ton of times. I haven't watched 2 or 3 more than once, I don't think. I don't think I rewatched them, which I should try to do before season 4 comes out. I've got 2 really long flights coming up. So perfect opportunity to, roll through the seasons if I've got nothing to do on a 6-hour flight in each direction. And it's going to be a wild, next 2 months, little less than 2 months. I can't wait to talk about it more with people. I can't wait till we get more information. I'm not expecting anything until New York Comic Con, but that's coming up in just under 2 weeks. We're 12 days away, something like that. Unfortunately, I can't be there. I did manage to find someone to take my ticket and my badge. And I need to re-chat with someone that reached out that said they will be attending and are interested in doing some coverage for the podcast. And hopefully I can work that out, and they'll be able to help and can tweet live and maybe post some pictures on our Instagram or anything like that. That'd be fantastic, because not only am I not going to be there, I'm probably not going to be on social media while this is happening, because I'm going to be out in California, and that day is also my daughter's birthday. So we'll be having a birthday party for her out there with family. So it's going to be a little hectic. It's going to be a little crazy. I'm not going to be paying much attention to what's happening at New York Comic Con. So stay tuned for more details if I am going to have somebody help cover that. And, I don't want to go on too long just talking about myself. You guys don't want to hear about that for any longer than you already did. But I just wanted to briefly just say, this show's meant a lot to me. It's important. It's grounded me. It's made me happy in times where I didn't know I could be happy. It's reconnected me with friends that I kind of pushed to the side for a course of months or even years in some cases. And, it's motivating me to do more things. And I've got other ideas and other plans, and there's so many things I want to do related to this show. I just don't have the free time. And, I'm trying to readjust my schedule a little bit, that maybe I could find some time, like before bed or after the kids go to sleep, or even waking up an hour earlier and getting some of the stuff done that I want to do before anybody's awake or have to walk my dogs or start work or anything like that. So I promise you guys, I am going to be doing more content. I have this fun idea I want to do. It's not going to be a podcast episode, but it will be uploaded to YouTube. And I really hope I get the time to do it. I know I've been talking about it for a while, but I'm going to make it happen, guys. I'm going to make it happen. Maybe after I come back from my trip, I'll be able to get, the first part of it knocked out. We'll see. But first thing on the menu when I come back is getting that interview finally scheduled and finally done. Because I'm really excited about it, and I think you guys are really going to love what we have to talk about, because this is a really, really cool person and probably underappreciated, like a lot of behind the scenes people are on animated shows, or any show for that matter. But anyway, I'm going to wrap things up. I've just been talking in circles about myself. And Dreamworks, thank you very much for posting that question and asking people to say, what chaos theory means to them, because it means the world to me. It really does. And I thank you and everyone involved with the show, Scott Kramer and Zach Stentz and Colin Trevorrow, and the dozens of people I'm forgetting. But thank you so much. It means so much to me. And yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that before I get too emotional just thinking about how much this show has saved me. So thank you again to everyone that worked on these shows. And hopefully I have some more actual Chaos Theory content for you the next time we chat. But until then, everyone stay safe, stay Jurassic, and have a great one. So long.